What up? What up? Good morning, people.
This is the Vagital Broadcast Show. Timpin
Timpin,
Salone.
Timpin Salone. We gotta get better
Yeah.
at that. We gotta get better at that. How you feeling, Mr. Jabisky?
Doing pretty good. It's been a minute since we put out an episode, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one. Should have some good topics. I'm looking forward to talking about. What about you?
Greatness takes patience. So we've been working behind the scenes, but let's get the people what they want.
Yep. So our first topic for today. So speaking of shows and podcasts, we want to talk about with you today. Our first topic is: has the podcast field become oversaturated? Do you feel like there's too many podcasts out there? What are your thoughts on that?
Another great question, Mr. Jabisky. I think that we live in a world where everybody does what everybody do. So I think when somebody sees a product or a service that's effective and efficient, I think people copy, and it's just the capitalistic society that we live in. But greatness can't be duplicated. It just it is what it is. If you know what I'm saying. But what you think about
Mhm.
that?
Yeah, I think especially with the pandemic that started in 2020, and also the rise of social media, now it's kind of opened up the world to everybody can kind of start their own. So I think it's good that people are being creators and starting their own thing. I just kind of want to, I guess the thing is you want to be able to separate yourself so you don't blend in with the crowd. So I think overall it's good, but it's hard to kind of make yourself unique when everybody has so many different good ideas and has a good following.
But I definitely think it allowed people to, as you were saying, allow people to create a lane for themselves and allow people to create an economy, for themselves, and that's always beneficial, especially in today's times. But I think that now when we live in a society where it's kind of everybody kind of looks the same, I think it's more important to just be authentic and be simple someone.
hmm Yeah, but then speaking of that, have you heard some of the connotations or people would say red flags for people in podcasts or talk shows?
What's a red flag?
So that's like a warning sign, like, oh, you should probably avoid this person, or like, oh, you see that, you got to walk away. That's like a warning sign. It's like a lot of people, especially on social media, say if I see some podcast gear or some recording studio equipment, you got to walk away because the podcasts are getting out of hand. They don't want to hear people's opinions on different things like dating and relationships has kind of gotten out of control with all the different people chiming in.
Well, if you want to limit your, resources and, just potential on, that aspect, then, hey, you do what you got to do. But I think the reason why you do something is more important. I think that if you're doing it just to do it, I don't know if that's, the correct, approach to it. But I think if you're doing it because you see a need or a space like, Timpin Salone, then, cool. You like it, I love it. That's what I always say. What do you think?
hmm Yeah, especially like if you create your own lane and kind of have a good audience that supports you and backs you. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I guess everybody has their own opinions. You can either watch, some people like to hate watch where you might not like somebody's opinion, but you want to watch just to see if you dislike. I know I've been guilty of that sometimes. You try and like listen in to see. But I think people have their own opinions. You can either watch and support. You don't have to. I think that's the kind of beauty of being able to create your own platform. You can kind of have you have your own rules, so you can kind of do what you want to do, and you can have a good backing, and you can have a support system. So it's all in the name of the game. So I think overall, it's been good to have this podcast field over the last couple of years.
Do you fear getting canceled by doing this broadcast platform we have here?
Well, I think as long as you watch what you say, you got to really, I guess, be careful with that and just being mindful like the different what topics you talk about and making sure that's appropriate and just always knowing whatever you say and if you publish it out there to the world, it will be viewed. It will be on there for a long time, possibly forever. So you always got to watch what you say. You never want it to come back to bite you. So you always got to say keep things at ease and just really just uh, listen back when you record. That's the thing. Because we have our own platforms, you have the power to put it out there to the world or keep it to yourself. So I think that's the thing you got to do. If you record something, you watch it back while you're editing. You say, "Oh, I don't know about that." You don't have to put it out there. That's the beauty of it. You can keep it to yourself.
Remember that lost episode that we never put out because y'all didn't clear that episode.
No, there was so many misnomers for that episode. We just had one part, literally only 5 minutes of the episode. The rest of it was good, but I don't know. That you just got to be on the safe side.
That's probably the best judgment. I'll agree with you there. But I think that you can't cancel what's God planned and God ordained for you. You know, I always like to joke that I'm one miss phone bill or Wi-Fi bill away from having an opinion. So you know, I try to just move with that perspective. But
Hmm.
I think that we live in a society where everybody's trying to be Mr. Right or Mr. Perfect, but nobody is. So I think that the only thing you can do is just grow and just evolve. I think opinions change. Things I think today, I might not think tomorrow. So just try to evolve and grow.
But yeah, let's move on to our next topic. Let's get into some sports topics. So the first one we have here, probably the biggest one of the biggest topics for the NFL this season, Lamar Jackson. So he's going to the final year of his contract, and so the talk has been just about his contract negotiations. So he's trying to, I believe, try to be like one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid player, basically ever. Like trying to negotiate his contract. The only thing is now he doesn't have an agent, so he's representing himself. So that kind of brings the question of, especially with contract negotiations, do you feel like it's right to have an agent, or you think it's okay to represent yourself in those situations?
I think it depends on the situation. I think that if I'm negotiating a contract with let's say a construction company and I have no background or expertise in construction, I may hire somebody who specializes in construction law if that's a thing. But I think that I'm all for everybody putting the chips where they may, and all for people just representing themselves. So I think that if anybody thinks that they have the skills and expertise to accomplish the goal and task, I support it. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I see both sides. I think the main thing is you want to have the knowledge and understanding, especially with the contract negotiations, because there's all these type of hidden
Right.
clauses and things. So you want to make sure when you're negotiating, you want to have that proper knowledge to know, okay, if they say this in the writing in the contract, do I understand what that means, and what if I sign it, am I fully prepared to accept whatever is in that contract? So I think the main thing is having the knowledge. So they say the best person that could support yourself, the best person going to fight for you is you. So I can see the benefits of being able to represent yourself, being able to negotiate and saying, I was able to do that for myself. I was able to put my best self out there and really just sell why you should give me this contract. On the flip side, you want to make sure you have that knowledge and that with the agent, they're able to kind of help you negotiate.
All right, so if you were in the NFL, would you hire an agent or would you negotiate it by yourself?
I would say for me personally, I would hire an agent. I see the flip side and both sides of it. So I guess if you're representing yourself, you're able to, I guess, basically have a say and really just put your best self out there. You have full control of what you sign. The flip side is you just got to make sure you have that knowledge and know what you're signing. Because with that agent, they're able to help you with those things that you're not knowledgeable of, and they can help just prepare you for what they're going to offer and just help you with the negotiating tactics. And they've been used to what they've been the field, so they have all this experience. So I think having an agent is beneficial, but I can also see the flip side of being able to just be on your own terms and not have that agent with you. So I think I see both sides, but overall, I would say having an agent is best because they're able to help you with the parts that you might not know. What do you
But
think?
I mean, it depends. But you see a lot of these ESPN 30 for 30s. A lot of these agents running off with 20, 30% of the royalties and stuff like that. So nowadays, the contract language is so written in a certain type of jargon that a normal person really wouldn't understand the vernacular that's present in contracts and stuff like that. So I think that I'm more for everybody putting the chips on themselves and stuff like that because I think nobody's going to represent you more than you. So I think that I like this. My kind of mindset and perspective when it comes to things is 2 plus 2 is 4. If I have to walk into a room and 2 plus 2 is not 4, then it's a situation. But I think that it depends on the type and style of contract. How many pages are in the contract. I think that it just kind of varies on the industry. to say the least. I think.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess yeah. With the agent, you're gonna have to pay whatever you make off that contract. You got to pay them a certain percentage, so
Yeah.
that's gonna be part of it. But they will have that knowledge. They would have that experience of negotiating contracts before, and also they're able to do the stuff that you might not want to think about. If you're in the middle of the season, you don't want to be barged in with, I guess, negotiations. You kind of want to have a good summary, but also doing your own research. The agent can help you with that instead of if you were representing yourself, you're going to have to worry about that fully on yourself, making the time for that, making sure you're knowledgeable, making sure you have the time to read through everything and make sure you have all your research done while playing your season. So you might not have your focus all the way there. So I think agent will always help you with the things you might not know, but it's always if you don't want to have like the side things like having to pay somebody giving the percentage of what you own and want to just be your own person, just represent yourself fully, then I can see the both sides to that.
But see, the tricky part about the NFL, because a lot of those contracts aren't guaranteed, so you're agreeing to pay an
Hmm.
agent a percentage of, you don't really know what the gross or like the net profit is going to be, so that's going to be hard in kind of dictating, just what percentage you agree to with the agent. To be honest with you,
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, especially with the NFL, it's hard. There's not that many people that get fully guaranteed contracts just because the way of the sports. You want to be able to leverage yourself where you can get the most guaranteed as possible. And if it's not fully guaranteed, hopefully the incentives are beneficial to where it's easy to achieve. I just think always with the Kyler Murray situation, how they had you had to have a certain amount of study hours per week. I think that was what it originally was in his original contract. So they were saying how I hope that the agent really read through that, or maybe it could have been a situation where he already was doing that. So he figured if that's going to be already guaranteed with that, even though it might not be fully guaranteed, but if I do this per hour or this per week and I already get that guaranteed if I'm already doing that, then I don't see the problem. So being able to make sure you know everything, what certain clauses are, because they can really fluctuate how much you're going to get and if it's fully guaranteed or not.
how much do you think an agent should get of your income, or what percentage?
I forget. I think there's an official percentage. It might be like between 10 and 20% of what you get from that contract because they're helping you negotiate. They're helping you with that contract. So I think it's around like in general. I think in the industry it's around like 10 to 20%. I believe. We'll have to look that up. I think around 10 to 20%.
I mean, yeah, I mean, 10 to 20%. I mean, you have to see what the overall number is as far as like the total and stuff like that. But some agents they may get a part of your advertising, your shoe deals, your merchandise and stuff like that. So you definitely got to just read your contract. A lot of people don't really read their terms and conditions nowadays either. So you just kind of got to just I would recommend that if you're going to sign anything, just have a lawyer present just to make sure. To have a lawyer
Hmm.
and pray about it.
Yep, definitely pray about it. It's definitely very important. But yeah, that kind of just reminds you how, like, especially with the in the industries, especially with professionals, whether it be actors, athletes, how you might see, oh, they might have got this much, but part of that's going to the agent, part of that you have a manager, part of that you're giving to your family. Then taxes that cuts that down a lot. So it might say 100 million, but that's going to be cut down to by so much. So but you really want to going back to the topic is making sure you get the most out of it, getting the most guarantee as possible. Because even though you might get that number, it's not actually that number you're actually going to get personally.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Hopefully that we're blessed with a good fortune when it comes to contracts. But I think just even in the field of business, there's going to be winners and losers regardless. In
Hmm.
business, usually it's you have a product or service that I can monetize and I can attain, and you have money. So it's just trying to find just that balance. I think that's kind of the hardest thing to do in just business is trying to find the balance between you definitely want to share and just profit, but you also want to make sure you retain ownership. For the most part.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, let's move on to our next topic. Let's get into some NBA talk. So this past year, the Golden State Warriors they won the championship this year, and they definitely say they really just evolutionized the game, especially with guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. They really took it to another level as far as the 3-point shooting in the league. They were at a whole nother level to where people had to kind of catch up, and now a lot of the teams they're trying to get copy just off them, just making sure they have enough 3-point shooters. And most of the times, most of the shots are 3-point shots that people are taking. So that kind of brings to the question If you are skilled enough to make those shots, it's going to be good. It's going to be going like Steph Curry does. But if you're not as skilled a 3 point shooter, if you're shooting too many shots, that might oversaturate the game. You might see a lot of just 3 pointers thrown out there. Remember, back in the 2018 season where Houston they shot like 27 or 28 3 pointers straight and missed all of them. So that kind of just was the negative side of that. So going to the question, would you say the 3 pointer has helped or hurt the game of basketball?
Um, I think with anything it evolves. I think that before it's going to be about 3 pointers, and it's probably going to be about half court shooting. Then it's probably going to get back to dunking. I think everything that's worth watching just kind of evolves and grows and stuff like that. I think that it's definitely going to change the way people get drafted. I think nowadays everybody kind of wants a mobile kind of stretch four. I think the terminology is trying to just make sure they're shooting correctly. But I think that I don't think it hurts or helps the game. I think the goal and the objective is to put the ball in the hoop, and whoever can do that the most effectively and the most efficiently is the people who's on the court. I definitely do think that it kind of does after a while it does kind of get old after a while seeing people do the same thing over and over again. But whatever puts people in the seats and these people watching, I support.
hmm Yeah, I agree. It definitely evolutionized the game. Now I'd say it's more even open as far as the talent that can come into the league. Before 10 to 15 years ago, you weren't having like 6'2" or 6'3" guys that would be able to dominate, and we've seen that with Steph Curry, how he now has a 3 point record, how he's changed the game. So it's definitely with the game, it's going to evolve over time. So you're going to have different eras where, say for example, 10, 15 years ago, the important thing was the mid range and be able to have a good mid range shooter and being athletic, be able to dominate the paint. But now we've seen there's a different way of being able to shoot the three, and people are going to want to optimize that because three points is more than 2 points. So you want to have you want to if you
That's
can
quick
make more of
maths.
those, yeah, yeah, a little simple, but you want to if you can make more of those and the other team that can set you up really well. And so now it's really just players have now had to be more skillful. Now, you might have a guy that be the number one overall pick 10, 15 years ago. They might have just been a great athlete. They might not be able to shoot as well, but they could dominate driving and scoring in the paint. But now, a guy that is more versatile is going to be more sought after, is going to be more of a prospect to where if they can be a three-level scorer where they can shoot, but also drive in, I feel like it's good to have the combination of being versatile. But I think the three-pointer is definitely, I think, help the game as far as just the skill level. And players today, I think, now are more skilled because they've had to develop that 3 point shot. But like you're saying, it's also the flip side to where you don't want to rely on it too much to where you're overdoing it to where if it's not working, if your team is struggling, you don't want to shoot the three just to shoot the three. If you have a open layup or you have a better percentage of a shot that you can take. So I think there's definitely an ebb and flow balance that you need to have. But I think overall, it's really helped the game.
I think it's kind of a double sided coin. 'Cause I definitely think the rules kind of play a part into the way the game is officiated and the way everything is called nowadays. I think that the way the game is kind of officiated and the way what certain calls get calls, what calls don't. I think that definitely leads to a certain level of well, there's a certain correlation between the rules and just the way the game is played. And I don't think the players are more skillful. I just think that this is a different type of game. I think that,
hmm
traditionally, just in like the pick and roll sets, you could be a little bit more physical in like the 80s and the 90s era to kind of prevent, certain things. Nowadays, it's kind of, just going back to like how the rules are officiated, it's kind of more easy to come off screens, come off a pin down, kind of come off a 1-4 flat. It's kind of easier to, kind of maneuver the system kind of. So I definitely think that the rules are going to play a correlating effect to the way the game is played, though.
hmm Yeah, like they used to have the hand checking rule and everything like
Right,
that. So now, but even now, you can say like with the 3 point shot, it's going to be easier to even drive in because everybody's at the 3 point line. You're not
right.
going to have as many people packed in. So like a guy like Giannis, he doesn't really shoot too many threes, but he can still dominate the paint. So I think yeah, definitely there's flip sides to everything, but I think overall it's going to evolutionize, and we'll see what happens. Even like 15, 20 years from now, it might go back to the way it was. It might have something even newer. So you never know. We'll see.
It's probably going to be, just kids, shooting from the half court. It's probably going to be the next, this next evolution. Then kids shooting, farther and farther away. I think that, I don't think nobody ever thought that, people just could be shooting from half court and just making it on a consistent percentage, though. I think that's just something that I don't think we've ever seen before, though. But
Hmm.
the game's going to go in cycles. Just like rap. One year is this, next year is this, next year is this. It's all just, the evolutionary process of life.
Hmm. Yeah, the big three they have, I think the 4 point shot, where it's even farther back. You see like in the future, the NBA or even there's any level of basketball having a 4 point shot if it's continuing the way how it's going right now with the 3 point shot.
I think whatever's going to put people in seats and get people to buy tickets, buy merchandise is what we're going to see. So we're going to see a 3 point lead. We're going to see a 4 point lead. We're going to see a whole bunch of league. Everybody got a league. Same with podcasts, and everybody going to do what everybody do, for the most part. So I think that, it's a great time to be, I know it's a lot, going on politically and, just, with crime and stuff like that. But it's a great time to be, just existing. We're seeing a lot of different evolution. We're seeing a lot of just different things, coming to market. We're seeing a lot of, just, who would have thought we would ever see something like the big three.
Hmm.
So I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, the important thing is that it is evolving, and now we're not getting the same product. We're getting new things and new innovations and ideas. So it's always nice to see that, and those being implemented. And we'll see. We never know what can happen down the line. So it's definitely nice to see things are changing. Just we all love the game of basketball. We still have that product of being able to have it evolutionized where it's different now, so you can really appreciate the different eras. And you can say, oh yeah, this era is meant for that. So it really being able to have it stand out, I think is very cool.
What do you think about just kind of the turnover rate in the NBA as far as just, nowadays a guy may get drafted at, 22 and just, how, popular the game is, in different continents and different countries and stuff like that. The average guy may be out the league at like, 27, 28 years old. So what do you think the next step for NBA players who, have their career? What do you think the next step for them should be outside of ESPN? Because everybody can't go to ESPN.
Um, there's like I think different business ventures. I think we've seen, especially recently, like with LeBron James and Kevin Durant, be able to create your own business and kind of like doing things like LeBron. He's into with like the entertainment industry as well, and Kevin Durant he has his boardroom company. So being able to kind of branch out while you're still playing, so you're able to do that, but also be able to invest. I think LeBron he has I think invested in Liverpool, the soccer team, and the Fenway Group organization. So being able to just kind of invest and think of things. I think what's beneficial now is that the players that they are thinking about what they're going to do after basketball. A lot of the times they are going to be doing stuff, whether it's in the off season or just on an off day. They are, I guess, adding to their portfolio, adding to their resume to where they're able to set themselves up well after they finish their sport and retire. So I think we see it especially now where players are really just thinking about what they want to do and they're adding on to stuff and adding on to their skill set now while they're still playing. So I think that's very good on their part.
Yeah, I think that would be my message to the next generation is just, whatever you want to do as far as rap, music, sports, entertainment, just look at, just the average lifespan of somebody in that career and just also plan, just plan accordingly. A lot of careers, especially in kind of the more front facing camera careers, depending on what you want to do, they kind of have a short, shelf life. So, you got to look at, okay, cool, if I have a career that's going to last me between, 20 to 27, 28 on a good level, what's going to be the next chapter. And I think those who plan for the next chapter excel, and those who don't, unfortunately, become a meme, I guess, as the kids say.
Yeah.